Hi, everybody. This is Ursie, and welcome back to the Ascension Playground. I just would like to start doing these small little vignettes of some of the fixed stars in the heavens, as together we start learning how to navigate in what we're seeing from the James Webb Telescope in NASA. So, part of the whole galactic astrology is to bring forward the stories of these fixed stars, something that when you go back thousands of years used to be done before the industrial age of modernization. So now it's fascinating in 2022 to have more of this idea of the technology is allowing us through NASA to begin to court and understand and embrace perhaps the narratives of the stars in the heavens. So today's little vignette is going to be in the Virgo constellation. Gotta love Virgo. And there's a fixed star, a beautiful fixed star named Spica. I had to look it up on Google how to say fixed star Spica. So they have these little voice recordings in YouTube of how to say some of the stars in case you want to be correct. Okay, so let me share my screen. Dun, dun, dun. Here we go. Gotta love the stars in the heavens. I mean, they hold us in this beautiful vessel, right? Earth is part of this whole matrix. I'm going to open up and be part of this little presentation. Here I am. Here I am. Hello, everybody. Okay, let's look at fixed star Spica. Spica in Virgo constellation. And yes, I am certifiable now. So let me move to the next slide. This is just a mini, but here I went on what's called astrologyking.com, and you get to see this interesting picture of Virgo. This is probably a more modern one, but when we look up at the heavens at night, we're like, okay, where's who, what? The first thing you can see is way up at the top left of the chart is Arcturus. Now, that belongs to another constellation called Boots. But if you already know where Arcturus is, it's going to be easy for you then to navigate and find the Virgo constellation. Now, Spica, look at this on the other side of my chart. Look at that beautiful star. So if you happen to have Spica in the Virgo constellation as your place of origin, remember how we look at the Pluto, the Neptune, and Uranus line looking for conjunctions or oppositions? Well, I just did a reading and I did this research on Spica or Spica. So this is why I have some of these little visuals to share with you. So if you see in Virgo all these other stars, right? I'll just call out a few. Vindemiatrix, Denebo. See, we're learning how to speak the language of the constellation and the stars. But Spica is down below. So we see Virgo's left hand, and she's holding a shaft of wheat. And at the tip of the wheat is the fixed star. It's very bright. It's the brightest star in Virgo. And here's what I learned. The whole word star, S-T-A-R, came, we think, from this fixed star, Spica. Spica to star. There might be some issue in the translation of English, but I bet if we go back into ancient languages, we're going to see that Spica was the other name for, look, star. And did you know, we get so enchanted by the heavens, and especially those four royal Persian stars. You know who I'm talking about, the King Star, Regulus, Fomalhaut, Antares, and Aldebaran. Oh, if only I had those four royal stars in my chart. Well, guess what? And here's the news. This beautiful star, Spica, comes in fifth place. It is so beautiful that some of the writings about this star actually place it up at the same level as those four royal stars. So, what does this all mean? Well, let me show you my next chart. Aha. Now, this image of the constellation Virgo comes from a card deck called the Box of Stars, but they got the imagery from what's called Urania's Mirror. So if you want to Google, go to Wikipedia, Urania's Mirror, you too can download each of these amazing pictures and have them available for you to learn how to navigate in a constellation. So my little round red circle again is indicating where the location of Spica is. Again, at the very center of the chaff of wheat. Now, wheat is a really good indicator. This represents wealth. It is representing abundance. It's harvest. Virgo, it comes at the beginning of fall. First we have, Leo, and then it moves in from Leo into Virgo. Then after Virgo, we'll move into Libra. But here is beautiful Virgo. Now, if you read the Greek mythology, sometimes people would say, oh, that's Demeter. Who's that? Oh, you mean like Persephone's mom? Oh, okay. Some people may know her by the other name, Ceres, Ceres. But in any event, did you ever see Virgo with wings? So, see how she's got wings? So, there is an angelic energy around this beautiful constellation. Did you also know that of the 88 named constellations in our enchanted heavens, that Virgo is the second largest? Only the first one is that huge water snake, right? Hydra. So Virgo is next in line as far as size. And I got to tell you, sometimes size matters. Ask Virgo. Look at her. So here's the thing, the times to tune in more deeply with Virgo and this particular fixed star, Spica, is October 16th if you're in the northern hemisphere during the daytime, or if you're in the southern hemisphere, October 16th in the evening, and then that gets reversed on April 16th, 6 months later. Northern hemisphere is meditating in the evening, and southern hemisphere is the morning for April 16th. Well, you and I both know you can tune into Virgo and this beautiful fixed star, almost a royal star, any time of day, any time of year. It's just more like this portal opens. It's funny. I've got this little blue jay outside saying, Spica, Spica. Oh my goodness. Okay, so let's see if I have one more picture for you. Here we go. Found yet another image of Virgo. Gotta love her. If you had this fixed star, let's say, highlighted and activated strongly in your natal chart, here are some of the traits. Now, this is not the comprehensive traits. These are just a few I found, researching around and Googling and looking at all these books. But what I really like is this closeness with motherly figures. Why? Well, Virgo is like an embodiment of Mother Earth. If you remember her story, and maybe you don't know her story, she had a daughter named Persephone and loved her daughter. But when her uncle, kind of weird family issues, Hades, took Persephone down to the underworld, stole her, abducted her, you know, this Demeter, she stopped working. I'm not going to be doing the plants and animals and harvest. I'm just missing my daughter. And so this is where the advent of winter and fall came in. So it was arranged that unfortunately Persephone had eaten a few pomegranate seeds down in the underworld with her uncle Hades, who she got married to reluctantly, not with her will, but she was allowed to visit her mom half the year. And this is where we get spring and summer. So this is the story of our 4 seasons. When Persephone is with Demeter or Virgo, there is fruitfulness, there is springtime, there is abundance. When she's not, it goes into fall and winter. This is why that first trait, the motherly figure, is key. The mama. but there's going to be more because when I did a little research on astrology king, and I'll show you that in a minute, this is the only star that has what they call in the nature of Venus and Mars. It's the only one. Go figure. So Venus, the feminine, Mars, the masculine qualities. Well, this fixed star Spica has both. So it's well balanced. And they even call her out as this star as androgynous. And why not androgynous? When you start looking at angels, angelic nature, as we evolve and ascend and transmute in our own ascension on earth and as human beings, we are moving more towards a crystalline nature, away from the carbon-based DNA and more towards light and crystalline. And by doing that, then the angelic qualities, and we'll look at Virgo's wings, it's like, yeah, androgynous. I'm a little male and a little female. Oh, well. And isn't it interesting that the conversations with our younger generation is about gender, right? Just as a conversation and a topic. That wasn't happening in my high school back in the day. No, it has something to do with this moving towards Aquarius and Uranus as the ruler of Aquarius. Okay, I digressed. Back to that star of wheat. It really does, if you have this in your natal chart, again, you can go to galacticastrochart.com. There's a free calculator by Julia Balaz and Hector, and you can go see is Virgo constellation, fixed star, Spica anywhere on my chart. If it is, there is this idea of provisional wealth, like things will be provided. Lucky you. It's one of the good stars to have in a chart. That's not my word. That's astrology king, right? But sadly, there is another challenge, and that is sometimes this is the lonely star. Remember, I showed you earlier Arcturus way out there, and then here's fixed star Spica. So it's sometimes looked at as it's all by itself. Okay, going back to those traits, number 2 on the list. If you have this activated, you are a truth teller and you seek truth above all else. You typically love and accept all people. And that's that mother quality, right? And you seek friendships, though, with those who are downtrodden. So the most vulnerable of society. And so that gives you a kind of a sense of nurse. Well, kind of like my name, Nurse Urse, right? I do have Spica activated in my chart. So when I was reading this, I'm like, oh, yeah, I like to feed those birds and animals and help feed the hungry when I can. People, that is. Okay, they live organically and holistically, having an aversion to eat meat in childhood. Now, if this does or doesn't apply to you and you have an activated Spica, that's okay. Some of these are just, does it fit or not? And discard what doesn't fit and hold the rest. Multi-talented comes up with this start. I'm telling you, this is a good star to have. And also, you typically have a mind that is intellectual, philosophical, and filled with imagination. Didn't you know? So even though it's a lonely star and it's androgynous and it's got wealth associated and the mother, there is one other little saying I want to tell you about this fixed star. Let's see, I'm going to stop sharing. Okay, some of you have heard me talk about, Aesop's Fable of the ant and the grasshopper. And I got some readers saying, or subscribers saying, well, I don't know that story. Okay, Aesop, Aesop, Aesop's Fables. These were stories that you tell children, kind of like the Granny Goose or Mother Goose rhymes, but these had more of a moral to the story. So here goes the ant and the grasshopper, and it's going to relate to this fixed star. Just bear with me. Okay, the ant. The ants would line up and they work and work and work. They work all summer long. They're always collecting food for winter. Yep, and there's a whole line of ants. And then one day, a grasshopper came jumping and hopping by and saying, and is frolicking and enjoying the sun and bathing, saying, ant, why are you working so darn hard? We're storing for winter. And by the way, grasshopper, you should start storing for winter. And Grasshopper says, later, dudes. I'm too busy, with my tan. I'm just going to go frolic. Well, that was summer. And then fall came and winter. And the ants had stored so much food, they kind of nestled in and they were prepared. But not Grasshopper. He was trying to say, Ant, I didn't save any food for winter. Give me some of yours. And Ants just closed the door and said, sorry, dude. And unfortunately, because Grasshopper did not save for winter, save for the rainy day, nope, he perished. Okay. So the moral of the story is, right? You can work hard and have your fun, but if it's all fun and no work, when winter comes, because winter always comes, nobody gets off this planet without a winter. And I'm using that metaphorically and energetically. When winter comes, are you ready? So here's how I'm going to bring it back then to the fixed star Spica. One, in addition to all those other items that I talked to you about, the traits of this fixed star, they do have a very strong spiritual quality to them. But here's the thing, you only reap what you sow. In other words, you only eat what you've hunted. You don't eat what other people have hunted or gathered. So if you have this beautiful star, nearly royal star, the fifth great star, if you have this in your chart, you truly do reap what you sow, not reap what my neighbor's sown or my cousin's sown. It really is about reaping what you sow, not just materialistically, not just intellectually, but emotionally, mentally, and even vibrationally. Because at the end of our lifetime, here's the thing, it's so much of it is going to condense down to how were you in relationship? It wasn't about how much money did you make, how many cars, were you famous or not, were you good or not? It really is, how were you in relationship? So if you're the ant working for winter, and winter is the end of life, and if you're storing some good, healthy relationships, you will reap what you have sown. Okay, I do have one more share because I said I would bring you over here to Astrology King. Here it is, astrologyking.com. Gotta love Jamie. I mean, if you have a few cents and you can donate to this site, he's just such a wonderful person. He's given all this information to us. Let's see if I can make my thing. So here's Virgo constellation, and here's more about Spica. Here again, highlighting success, riches, a sweet disposition, love of art and science. I don't know. I don't know what the other side is: unscrupulousness, unfruitfulness, and injustice to innocence. Have no idea what some of this other stuff means. I got to say, wait, it's even saying Spica is one of the 15 Bohemian fixed stars. Its image is a bird or a man laden with merchandise. It gives riches and overcomes contentions. So, but it says it's truly one of the great stars in the sky. Let me stop sharing for a minute. So here's the deal. In 2022, it's a little bit like, okay, we're reading the ancient texts of like, what does this star mean? And you're going to see it's so outdated. Like, oh my God, beware of drowning, beware of poisoning. It's just this like, or bad luck with voyages on the ocean. So, I do think that now we're in a time and place where we could kind of like reevaluate what is the message of the star today and bring it into it more of a modern and even forward quantum conversation around what the definition of this is. So this is the game we play, telling stories and narratives, because when you think about it, at the end of the day, each of us is a collection of stories. So go check and see, do you have that lucky, wonderful, prosperous star, Spica, in your chart? See you next time on the Ascension Playground.